I mean, any country really where we identify kind of a need for a reputable broker is an area that we're looking to explore. Specifically, Bitcoin kind of broke into the mainstream, you know, and a lot of people who had no experience in trading or finance of any kind, you know, saw a lot of these articles where Bitcoin was, you know, front and center, and I think they saw it as kind of an opportunity to, you know, make a lot of money very fast. I think cryptocurrencies and the coins, you know, they've already kind of created a, not necessarily a desire, but you know, it's kind of awakened people's understanding of how centralized and decentralized markets work. It's very easy for new traders specifically to be drawn in by gimmicks or kind of unrealistic promises of high profits and this kind of thing. And I think for any kind of established business or brand from any industry to kind of step into that realm, the most difficult thing would be to navigate that, you know, that risk around regulation and making sure that you remain compliant with all of the, you know, rules that you have to remain compliant with.
Дорогие друзья, у нас с вами очередной запуск Business ID. В этот раз у нас представитель FxPro. Мы проведем этот звонок на английском языке, как мы уже делали с вице-президентом Мариной Нисанбанка. Так что, дорогие друзья, располагайтесь поудобнее. Не забывайте подписываться на наш канал, ставить колокольчик. So, Pete, greetings. Thank you for visiting our channel. We hope you will enjoy it as much as we do. So, tell us, please, how this pandemic influenced business of FxPro during all these tough months.
Yeah, sure. Well, firstly, thank you for taking the time to speak to me also, Vitaly.
Pleasure's all mine.
I mean, I would say, you know, across the industry in general, we've witnessed kind of an increase in registrations and volume. I think a lot more investors are looking towards the market for opportunities because of the crisis. Most likely, another factor would be, you know, people are stuck at home these days, so obviously they have a lot more free time to research and, you know, kind of put things to the test and trade. I think previously, you know, people didn't have the time to access the markets before. So from an internal perspective, to be honest with you, we made some slight adjustments, but these were very minor. We already had people set up for remote working, so the impact on our business was next to none. We operated completely normally during this time, and, you know, no delays to any of our processes. So I think the only kind of impact really was that we saw an increase in business in terms of our processes and speed of onboarding. No real change.
Yeah, we see the same trend. We spoke with here players of the local investment market, and they see that the trend of investment is growing because in Russia we see that interest rates from the banks drop considerably. And people see for other alternative sources for investment, not necessarily to multiply their savings. The main purpose is to save. But anyway, the frequency of these transactions is quite optimistic and raises our awareness of that. And people start being much more interested in alternative ways of saving and finding the ways to finance and allocate their existing finance. We've seen that regarding the world market, your company being mentioned as the best brokers in Zimbabwe, which is quite a dynamic market, and Rwanda. What foreign markets are you expanding currently? How's Russia is among them, and what do you see about this opportunity?
Sure. Well, I mean, we already operate in over 170 countries, I believe. So, I mean, we already consider ourselves to be a very kind of global broker, if you will. You know, we have a strong presence in Europe, Asia, and Africa, for example. We're currently kind of looking into more Latin American markets and kind of looking to further kind of cement, if you like, our brand in the countries that we're already present in. I mean, any country really where we identify kind of a need for a reputable broker is an area that we're looking to explore. I mean, going forward, our goal is to continue to serve our current clients, of course, and to maintain our reputation, if you like, as a preferred broker of choice, both for new and existing clients. And we do that through offering kind of like a safe place to trade, you know, and we can rely on our kind of proven track record to do this. As for specific countries, it's quite rare that we would, you know, pinpoint a specific one country to focus all of our efforts onto, but rather to kind of, you know, employ more of a kind of a blanket approach, if you will, and, you know, focus not only on the countries where we're already present, but to see as and when opportunities present themselves, how we can kind of best serve that market, be that Latin America or any kind of CIS countries, for example.
So as far as we understand, you focus on not on each particular market, but mainly on customer service.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say only customer service, but yeah, I mean, that's a big focus of ours. I mean, providing clients, I think longevity, to be short, but longevity within the industry comes down to only a few things. Top customer service, and genuine customer service. And also providing the clients with what they genuinely need, which is, you know, good technology, good systems, good processes designed to aid their trading and to not, you know, hold them back in any way. So it's one of the many things that we've always focused on since, well, since inception, you know, pushing 12, 13 years now.
It's quite interesting for me personally, since I was involved in this cryptocurrency boom. What's your idea about the cryptocurrencies? Are you somehow connected, related? What do you think of that? Or is it a competitive market? Is it a friendly market? Is it a market that is kind of adoption curve for your future clients?
For cryptocurrencies, did you say?
Yeah.
I mean, they're definitely still on the tip of a lot of people's tongue. I mean, they're very much still relevant and also kind of prevalent among a lot of the kind of online forums, especially when people are discussing alternative types of investments. But I think the audience has perhaps changed somewhat over the last, you know, few years when kind of Bitcoin, specifically Bitcoin, kind of broke into the mainstream. You know, and a lot of people who had no experience in trading or finance of any kind, you know, saw a lot of these articles where Bitcoin was, you know, front and center. And I think they saw it as kind of an opportunity to, you know, make a lot of money very fast. And along with that, a lot of kind of cryptocurrencies and kind of new coins were released to try and take advantage of that, that kind of crypto bubble, if you will. We offer very few cryptocurrencies. We're not really a broker focusing on cryptocurrencies. We provide a wide range of investment symbols, and it's our focus to make sure that we can provide these with the best available conditions that we can. I think the relevance of cryptocurrencies in general is more the technology, the blockchain technology used by Bitcoin and other cryptos. I think this is something that we'll definitely see a lot more of in the tech arena. We're already seeing it a lot, finance industries in general in the future. I mean, I've read some articles not that long ago about a lot of banks as well, looking into how they can make use of the technology and how they can incorporate that into their payment systems. So I think it'll be quite interesting to see how the technology develops and how it's implemented in the future from a banking perspective or a trading perspective. I think the potential uses for the technology are quite wide, but I think this needs to be explored in a lot more depth before you know, any kind of specific opinions can be made on whether it's going to be beneficial or not.
Have you heard about DeFi, decentralized finance?
Say that again, sorry.
DeFi, decentralized finance.
Yes, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, have you heard about it? Because it's quite loud right now in China, but it hasn't been really adopted all overseas. And I'm not sure whether it should. I'm just asking for your private opinion.
Well, I think, I mean, I think one of the things that cryptocurrency or appealed to a lot of people originally with the cryptocurrencies was the fact that it's, you know, decentralized. I mean, I know it's a fast-growing sector, specifically when tied into cryptocurrencies, but
that's all right.
I mean, it's an interesting one, to be honest with you. I mean, it's not something I've investigated in a great deal, but I think cryptocurrencies and the coins, you know, they've already kind of created not necessarily a desire, but you know, it's kind of awakened people's understanding of how centralized and decentralized markets work. And I think that, you know, the transparency that you can get from, you know, you look at decentralized and centralized, and I think that the trust is kind of moving away from the centralized, the kind of standard, the typical markets, and the decentralized is becoming much more appealing to people that want to kind of feel, at least, like they're taking a lot more of that control into their, you know, into their own hands, if you will. But I mean, I haven't read a great deal about it, to be honest with you, to kind of give you a more in-depth answer.
That's all right. I'm asking. Didn't mean to put you in an uncomfortable position.
No, of course not. Of course not. I would rather give you a more articulate response, but I haven't read enough on it to give you anything too articulate, to be honest.
Look, it's actually your response. It's well articulated first and foremost, but secondly, the thing that you haven't been deep into that, it's also kind of a response. It means that you're focused on fiat markets first and foremost, and then it means also that this emerging technology, despite that you're in technology and high tech and finance business, is still yet to become kind of a commodity technology when it will be widely adopted by such market leaders as you. It's also a trend. If you're not adopting it widely, if you're not crazy about it, then it means that you're hesitant about it. And it's also quite valuable reaction to that. I consider it all this decentralization. I accepted this idea quite positively, and I was exceptionally optimistic about it. But then it turned out that it became more of a source for lots of unfair advantages for market makers, for those who were early adopters to that. And basically, even this concept of decentralization failed, unfortunately. If you remember, I remember quite well the November of 2018, where Bitcoin fell almost double to the mining cost. And it was due to the influence of one crazy person, Craig Wright. And he did it single-handedly. Of course, he had resources and people, but come on, it's not decentralized as we suppose.
No, from that perspective, I think, yeah, from that's a fair point. I think generally it's still in its infancy. I mean, people have only really, I mean, the wider audience of people or companies and different institutions are not going to jump on the bandwagon or consider implementing kind of new technologies or a decentralized perspective in general until it's something that's proven. I mean, you know, a lot of the models which are already, even in a market making model in general, you can still operate a model of that kind and be fair and be, you know, and be transparent and be clear about what your costs are, you know, and these aren't going to be fluctuating, you know, huge amounts. So I think that there are still positives and negatives on both sides, but I think where certain markets are in their infancy and still need to kind of be, you know, need to just grow out. They need to kind of, you know, find their feet a little bit and see if it can be managed in a fair manner. Other markets which would have typically been looked at as an unfairer model, you know, if they're transparent and they're clear about how they're operating, then, you know, it's, you know, I think it's very clear for people to look at this and make their own minds up and, you know, have all of the information readily available to them to make a kind of an informed decision.
Correct. But I've seen this honeymoon of blockchain being long time over, unfortunately. I remember talking to the top bankers across the world, from HSBC in Hong Kong to, I know, Fidelity in New York, and everybody was fascinated about the blockchain, about the novelty of that, about the noble idea of decentralization. But ultimately, when it turned to be that it's basically a Chinese way to manipulate the resources, lots of people lost quite a bit of confidence in that. Still, Bitcoin is forever, that's for sure, but all the other alternatives to that, they unfortunately failed to meet the expectations. But anyway, this was completely out of the nowhere, this question. I'm just interested to get your reaction, since you're a top professional in a top market, top regulated market, because investment, especially in your case, is a very, very regulated. You follow obviously all the KYC and regulation legislation. And you do it across almost 200 countries. That's mind-blowing. For me as a finance lawyer back in early years, I'm not practicing for over a decade, but still it's mind-blowing how you comply with all of that. Look, we all know that people are hesitant to put their money somewhere. You need to convince them to do that. What are your tricks? What are your bells and whistles, how you convince people to choose you and your particular source of service?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I would say that we, again, from the beginning, we've never really looked to sell people in terms of calling people and trying to convince them that this is the right product for them to trade with. We focused from day one on creating a brand which is established on, not to sound kind of too marketing or kind of cliche, but establish a brand on reputation, providing good service, consistently improving and investing upon technology. And if you provide a good service, as with any industry, people will come to you. So we built our reputation up over, I mean, it's been that long, I've kind of lost track, but at least 13, 14 years now. And throughout that period of time, people have been attracted to us because of what we put back into our products and services. So we've invested heavily on technology, and that kind of ties back into the point you raised about how we manage to remain compliant. We do that because of our investment in technology. Also, all of the relevant systems we have, the relevant kind of reporting, automation, all of these things tie in to make sure that we can operate without any kind of issues whatsoever. I think that's the main thing, is that we've never really focused on selling people. Rather, we focused on just providing a good service. And I think any business in any industry that focuses on giving clients a good service will always prosper. And that's kind of what we've always done. And we've built that reputation through, branding, partnering with other successful quality companies that stand for the same values that we have also. And we've aligned ourselves with with industry leaders across various sectors to make sure that we're apparent and we are visible to people that would be interested in getting involved within this kind of a marketplace.
This is all great. What kind of traders are you looking for? Who should consider you as a main service provider? Let's assume the Russian traders, Russian audience.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I wouldn't say that we are specifically trying to target one type of client from one type of country. I mean, we have clients which are brand new to trading, who maybe this is the first kind of adventure into trading that they've had. They've just done their reading, they've done their online research, and they're looking to get involved in the markets. And they've come across us again due to reputation or something like that. And we also have long-term serious traders that make very, very serious investments. So we genuinely cater to an entire range of clients from literally all over the world. So for the educated traders, maybe the people that have been trading for many years, they're very well aware that we have the technology behind us to make sure that they're getting great execution, through great platforms. And for the new traders, we provide education and assistance. We're not pushing people to fund and trade. We always push education. We provide all of our clients with demo accounts to make sure that when they're learning something new, they're learning, maybe it's just a new terminology, they can then put that to the test. They can open a demo account with a realistic amount of starting capital, and they can actually see how they can perform. So I think we cater to a wide range of clients, and I think we'll continue to do so because of the products and services we offer, and because of the technology that's sitting behind all of that as well.
That's very, very correct strategy, because we see that lack of education, the lack of somehow compliance with the interface is among the main problems of the traders. What are the other problems that traders usually face, and how do you help to combat them?
I think it kind of ties into my previous answer, really. I mean, I think the biggest problems that newer traders face, at least today, is that there are a lot of options available to people, right? There are a lot of brokers nowadays, and it can be hard sometimes for a new trader to kind of filter out the noise, if you like, and find a truly kind of a legitimate, regulated and professional broker. Now, there are a lot of these brokers out there, but from a new trader's perspective, it can be quite hard to differentiate between these brokers. So it's very easy for new traders specifically to be drawn in by gimmicks or kind of unrealistic promises of high profits and this kind of thing. And at the end of the day, they find themselves dealing with much deeper issues, a few weeks down the line, where, they've been drawn in by, 100%, promises of 100% profit and 30% returns a week, all this kind of stuff. And people that are educated and have actually read about the financial markets in general know this is not possible. I mean, of course, there are some success stories where people will, have great returns, maybe through luck, maybe through a fantastic strategy of some kind, maybe just because of experience. But nobody should be getting into this industry in general as a get-rich-quick scheme. That's just not how it works. And when you're looking for a broker, you need to have this in mind. You need to do the research. You need to understand their reputation, why they have this reputation, who they're regulated by, and make sure that they are operating to the highest professional standards. And if new traders and existing traders to a certain degree make the right decisions when choosing a broker, and obviously have educated themselves, and if they're new, done the relevant testing on their strategies, and most of these problems would have been mitigated. So I think it's very, very important that people take the time to make sure that they're trading with a reputable institution, because if they're not, there are many potential issues that can arise for them.
I really applaud to your risk management approach, because most of the participants of this market, they engage the users. They promote the risk strategies. The more risks, the more returns, and so on and so forth. Although they do not, of course, explain the results of this. If the things go wrong, and what will happen with these risks will turn the other way.
Indeed, yeah.
Yeah. Look, since we're in my company is in mobile development, and we've done a few interfaces for brokers here in Russia, and we're doing this in Kazakhstan, and we're doing this in some other markets. What is your statistics among the users of mobile interfaces and desktop interfaces? We see this rising, but I'm just curious, what's your take here?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I couldn't give you an exact statistic on it, but what I can tell you is that traditionally, I think up until very recently, the last year or so, desktop platforms have typically been the most useful and the most used, specifically for more serious traders, if you will, because they have more tools available, more customizability. And the people that are kind of running more advanced strategies would find these more useful. But very recently, due to the situation with COVID, etc., times have changed. I think the change or the move to mobile has been kind of accelerated quite drastically. And this comes down to the fact that traders are looking towards more, mobile kind of focused solutions, right? So this is why the last kind of year or so, I mean, and longer, we've been building and focusing our FxPro app for iPhone and Android. We've been continuously developing this in line with the demands from our clients. So this obviously started with the first version of our app quite so many years ago now, but as this has kind of been picking up over the last, especially 6 months to a year, we've really driven the development of this app based upon what our clients are telling us. So to elaborate slightly, one of the biggest demands and therefore changes in recent times is that clients and people in general want to be able to manage their trades in depth as they do their day-to-day lives at any time from any location, be it from their phone, maybe even the tablet device. And I think we see this is a trend across, you know, many different industries, where banking, you know, and many other things. But accessibility is definitely one of the key drivers. So it's not just about having an app where somebody can log in and see a trade and, you know, buy and sell. It's about having accessibility to the same level of tools and the same level of information upon those trades, so that they can manage them in depth successfully. You know, whether they're on holiday, you know, with their pina colada or whatever it may be, whether they're in the office, whether they're in, you know, in the taxi, whatever the case may be, accessibility is key. People are looking to make these decisions as fast as possible with a reliable app. So the focus is definitely trending towards mobile. And I think this has been not just due to the fact that people are looking for more accessibility, but all of their other kind of life management apps are also moving mobile. Banking apps are becoming much more in depth. So it kind of, it's part and parcel of, you know, the development in general. I think just more and more apps are coming to the devices, because this is really what people want, especially with the younger crowd as well now, kind of, you know, younger professionals and this kind of age. It's just the way forward, I think. So we're definitely seeing a trend upwards on the mobile, but I think it's still got a long way to go before it kind of levels off.
We're here to help in any case. Look, the pandemic really changed our life negatively and positively, and lots of interest and eyeballs right now focused on mobile devices and digital. Lots of people who've never been so digital right now are. And we see that among the biggest trends right now on the market, video blogging. Most of the entertainment switched from nightclubs and visiting your favorite football teams, because football has been canceled. We know you're a football player, and I hear you. I feel your pain. How are you dealing with that?
Yeah, it's tough, to be honest. I mean, we have quite an active office in general, to be honest. We play football quite regularly. We have a gym on premises as well. So a lot of people here take their health and fitness very seriously. But I think playing football, I mean, it's just one of those casualties, right, of what happened. I'm lucky I have access to a gym at home. Otherwise, I think I would have put on a few more kilos than what I have. But yeah, the biggest thing for me was watching the football, especially as, I mean, I'm a Liverpool fan, and we won the league this year in the UK. Okay. So not being able to go and, you know, do the normal parade and, you know, all this kind of stuff was a bit of a letdown. But it's, you know, it's one of the sacrifices we have to make for the greater good. So fingers crossed we win it next year.
I hope I will not lose you, but I'm United fan.
That's fine. I lived in Manchester for a long time, so that's fine.
You're fine with Max. All right. I adopted this because my home team, Rotor Volgograd, you may never heard of it, once kicked the butt of Manchester United. And
really?
obviously had a much more successful image, and then I need to pick up some Western club to root for, and I picked United. Look, back to the blogging. We see this quite dynamically growing, and not a lot of businesses present there. We see that among the bloggers, it's kind of a guerrilla marketing right now, selling all these pills, some fake purses, and all the other crap that is usually sold on the streets right now is quite successfully trending in Instagram and TikTok.
Absolutely.
But the bigger brands are not yet there. Have you got the strategy for video blogging? I mean, For you, it might be twofold as far as I assume. The first one is education. Obviously, you need to have video intros and onboarding videos and so on and so forth. The second one could be an onboarding video for traders, not to educate them, but really get their accounts placed with you. Have you got a strategy on video blog?
I mean, video blogging in its literal sense, you know, people just picking up a phone and videoing away. I think it's quite a difficult sphere to manage the content that's coming out of that. So we do spend quite a lot of time and effort in producing educational videos, but they're much more polished. They're not what you would consider a typical, you know, vlog, if you will, of somebody kind of going through the process. I think in-house vlogging could be something, I mean, I know it's something we're looking at, and I think it could be something that we could take advantage of. But again, we would have to make sure that we remain, you know, fully compliant, and make sure that we're not misleading anybody, and make sure that the information is clear and concise, and to again get across the message that this is, you know, this industry does carry risk, investment does carry risk, and you know, it's important that that message is made clear to anybody that's kind of interacting with these videos. And again, as you mentioned, you know, there's a lot of products being peddled across, you know, social media now, fake products, dangerous products, and you know, it's a really unregulated space at the moment. And I think for any kind of established business or brand from any industry to kind of step into that realm, the most difficult thing would be to navigate that, you know, that risk around regulation and making sure that you remain compliant with all of the, you know, rules that you have to remain compliant with. It's very easy for somebody to, you know, create a vlog, you know, promise people, and as they do, promise people, you know, fantastic returns, push them to a specific unregulated broker. Definitely. You know, they'll receive a kickback from that, and you know, for the people involved, fantastic business, you know, get rich quick, make your money. But for the investors and the people that would have used the, you know, this broker to maybe not to necessarily make a huge amount of profit, but to, you know, increase their capital gradually, you know, low risk strategies, long term, it's going to put these people off. So I think it's important that whether it's us or any other brand from any other industry that's involved in kind of social vlogging or any kind of social marketing, it needs to be done the correct way, and it needs to be done, you know, so that it doesn't cause any damage to the market in general. And that can be a tricky, you know, that can be a tricky, tricky thing to navigate, I think.
I think it's also, as every problem, it also creates an opportunity. Maybe you could bring all these chaos to some kind of an order, and bring the order, how's it correctly spelled? Bring the balance to the force, right?
I'm glad you have a Star Wars reference.
I'm trying to remember the correct phrase. So you can balance the force here and maybe organize all these random and really scam schemes by providing a top-notch brand, navigating the user, not necessarily onboarding them, but this will eventually happen.
Yes. Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, this is I mean, we have been building our general social media presence quite heavily over the last 6 to 12 months, but we've been doing it in a gradual and, you know, in the correct manner. You know, we've been throwing out some great information on our Instagram page, for example, with some great facts and figures about the market in general, maybe, you know, things that a lot of people wouldn't have otherwise known, you know, some really interesting stories. And this is sometimes enough to spark people's interest in the markets in general, enough for them to say, well, you know, maybe I'll go and have a look at this and educate myself a little bit more about this kind of a service. So we are kind of on the cusp of pushing more into this kind of area, but the videos, the vlogging specifically, I'm not sure where we're at with kind of general vlogging, but videos from an education perspective, onboarding, you know, helping clients through the steps. This is something we're definitely already involved with, but probably looking into in a little bit more depth moving forward.
That's actually
hopefully we can read. The Star Wars references completely caught me off there. That's fantastic.
pleasure. That's exactly what I mean, actually, because for us, English is not my native language, obviously, but what I meant by video blogging is actually video blogging platforms as YouTube, TikTok, but much more.
Okay, yeah. I think, I mean, listen, social media in general, just to clarify, social media in general is obviously an important source of many things. One, of information for people. Two, for us to let our current and potentially new clients know what's going on, what we're doing, how we're doing it. And three, it's a great platform to just, I mean, we've worked with many different types of companies in the past, football clubs, F1, etc. And it gives us the ability to kind of throw out some great facts about whether it's the football team or an F1 team or FxPro in general. And, you know, it sparks a bit of interest about the brand and lets people know that we remain, you know, partnered with strong, you know, with other strong brand leaders and market leaders in their field. So we definitely do leverage social media. And I think this is something that the marketing team is definitely focusing more of its efforts onto. Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube and the likes of these platforms. Yeah.
You've mentioned F1 team. It's really popular in Russia. I've been in F1 in Singapore. How did you obtain McLaren? It's not an easy brand to catch with.
No, I mean, you're right. I mean, I guess
very selective in terms of.
Yeah, they are very selective, but I think and McLaren are a huge brand. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's a fantastic brand to be associated with, but we're also very picky when we come to our partnerships.
I like the association with the speed. You can
this is what it boils down to. I mean, I think when it comes to McLaren and FxPro, I mean, we have a shared passion for many similar things. What, you know, technological innovation. I mean, technology in motorsport is ridiculous, you know, and we've been involved in motorsport in the past with previous F1 companies and also with rally, you know, in our very early days. And McLaren is you know, it's a legendary team. You know, it's got a very strong history, a very proud history. So it was a no-brainer that we'd want to work with them. And like you said, I mean, in racing, everything is about speed, precision, power, and a good broker is. I mean, these are important factors for a good broker as well. I mean, these are important components of trading. You need to be fast. You need to be precise. You know, the technology you have needs to be powerful.
You're a pit stop for the racer, right?
Indeed.
In 3 seconds, you change the tires and you're good to go.
Well, this is the point. I mean, you know, our technology. I mean, not to keep coming back to this, but if you invest enough in technology, then it means that you can genuinely provide a quality, fast, not completely latency free, but as low latency as possible to the client. And if the client's getting a good service, I mean, that's really all it boils down to. If they're, you know, maybe they make positive trades, maybe they have some negative trades, but if they know that the positive and negative is solely down to their decision making and not because they have, you know, a terrible platform that they're on or really bad latency when it comes to execution or something like that, then there's not going to be any kind of negative, you know, there's no negativity involved there. They made a bad decision or they made a good decision. It was their decision. It's not because the platform's slow or because of some kind of poor technology that other brokers may use.
Let's blame the market always, right? Invisible hand. Anyway, Peter, I highly appreciate your patience. Thank you for your time. It's been great pleasure actually talking to you and discussing all these interesting things that raise a lot of passion in both of us. So thank you so much.
Vitaly, likewise, pleasure to speak to you. You know, it's great. It'd be fun to do it again sometime.
Yeah, sure. May the force be with you.
Indeed, may the force be with you. Fantastic.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.